The ring was still on her finger when the doctors pronounced her dead. Just 3 hours earlier, Maya Jennifer Simmons had said yes to the man she loved, surrounded by champagne and celebration. Now her blood stained the parking lot pavement while her killer stood motionless, watching the life drain from a mother of 8 children. This is not a love story. This is a cautionary tale of what happens when you give in to the dark side of possession. When Kaisha Simmons Birch couldn't have what she wanted, she made sure no one could. Maya Jennifer Simmons lived every day for her 8 children. At 30 years old, she had created a world where love mattered more than money, where bedtime stories happened even after 14-hour workdays, where somehow she found magic in the mundane struggles of single motherhood. Her grandmother Jennifer had raised Maya after her own mother fell victim to addiction. Jennifer taught her granddaughter how to stretch a dollar, how to find joy in small moments, and how to never give up on your dreams. Maya absorbed these lessons completely. She worked multiple jobs, cleaning houses, doing hair from her kitchen table, selling homemade cookies, whatever it took to provide for her family. The loss of her daughter Dream, one of her twins, had nearly broken Maya. Instead, it made her more devoted to her remaining children. She channeled her grief into fierce protection and endless love for the 7 who still needed her. Maya had put her own education on hold when she became pregnant at 17, but she never abandoned her dreams entirely. Her notebook was filled with business plans for Maya's Little Angels Daycare, complete with curriculum ideas and budget projections. She had recently started taking online courses toward a degree in early childhood education, determined to build something better for her family. Friends described Maya as someone who never complained, despite facing obstacles that would crush most people. The father of her first 3 children had abandoned them. She lost her job during the pandemic. Money was always tight, but Maya Jennifer Simmons kept fighting, kept believing that better days were coming. Those better days seemed to arrive when she met him, the man who would propose to her at the Bloom Room nightclub. After 2 years of dating, he had embraced Maya's children as his own, offering the partnership and stability she had always craved. The engagement represented more than marriage. It symbolized the family unit Maya had dreamed of creating. She called her grandmother immediately after accepting the proposal, laughing and crying simultaneously. "Grandma, I finally got it right this time," she said, already planning to have all 8 children participate in their wedding ceremony. But someone had been watching Maya's happiness grow, someone who believed that happiness belonged to her instead. Kaisha Simmons Birch presented herself as a woman in complete control. At 39, she worked as an administrative assistant at a local insurance company, maintained a spotless apartment, and earned a reputation among colleagues for her professional demeanor. Nobody saw the storm building inside her mind. Kaisha and Maya's paths had crossed through one man, the same man who would slide an engagement ring onto Maya's finger that July night. For nearly 3 years, Kaisha had dated him on and off, riding an emotional roller coaster of breakups and reconciliations that left her drained but hopeful. Each time he left, she convinced herself he would return. Each time he came back, she believed they were meant to be together forever. The final breakup happened 6 months before he met Maya. Text messages recovered from Kaisha's phone painted a disturbing picture of escalating desperation. She alternated between furious accusations and heartbreaking pleas, begging him to reconsider. His responses grew shorter and less frequent until he finally told her the truth. He had moved on with someone new. That someone was Maya Jennifer Simmons. Kaisha's co-workers noticed the changes immediately. She called in sick more often, appeared distracted during meetings, and spent work hours scrolling through Maya's social media accounts. One colleague found her crying in the break room after seeing photos of Maya with her children and Kaisha's ex-boyfriend at a local park. The obsession grew stronger each week. Kaisha began appearing at restaurants where the couple dined, following them through shopping malls, watching from her car as they lived the life she believed should be hers. 3 weeks before the proposal, she confronted them outside a movie theater, demanding to speak with him alone. When he refused, she screamed that he was making the biggest mistake of his life before security removed her from the premises. Her social media posts became increasingly dark and cryptic. References to karma appeared frequently, along with ominous statements about people who don't deserve their happiness. Her final post, made just hours before arriving at the Bloom Room, read simply, "Some people don't deserve their happiness." On July 28th, Kaisha called her ex-boyfriend 17 times. Every call went unanswered. Whether she knew about the planned proposal remains unclear, but her presence at the Bloom Room that night would transform celebration into catastrophe. If this case grabs you, hit the like button, share your take in the comments, and tap subscribe with the bell so you never miss the next episode of Deranged Women. July 28th, 2023. The Bloom Room nightclub on Atlanta's East Side buzzed with its usual Friday night energy. Maya Jennifer Simmons arrived at 9:30 p.m. with 7 close friends, securing a reserved section near the dance floor. She had spent the afternoon getting her hair and nails done, small luxuries she rarely afforded herself as a mother of 8. Maya thought they were celebrating her friend's job promotion. She kept questioning why they ordered expensive champagne, laughing as her friends exchanged knowing glances. The blue lighting cast a magical glow across their table as they toasted to friendship and new beginnings. At 10:45 p.m., Maya's boyfriend arrived wearing a tailored suit that stood out among the club's casual crowd. He had told Maya he would be working late, another small deception in the evening's elaborate plan. What happened next was captured on 12 different cell phones. The DJ lowered the music as Maya's boyfriend led her to the center of the dance floor. Friends formed a circle around them as he dropped to one knee, producing a small velvet box from his pocket. The entire club fell silent, then erupted in cheers as Maya nodded through her tears, accepting the ring that represented everything she had ever wanted. For 45 minutes, pure joy filled that corner of the Bloom Room. Champagne flowed, photos were taken, and Maya couldn't stop staring at the diamond on her finger. None of them noticed Kaisha Simmons Birch sitting at the bar, watching every moment with growing rage. Security footage shows Kaisha arriving alone at 10:15 p.m., ordering a single drink and positioning herself with a clear view of Maya's celebration. When the proposal happened, her reaction was immediate and violent. She downed her drink in one gulp, gripping the bar until her knuckles turned white. The first confrontation occurred at 11:50 p.m. As Maya walked to the restroom, Kaisha intercepted her in the narrow hallway. 3 witnesses heard raised voices, though the loud music made exact words impossible to understand. Security cameras captured Kaisha pointing at Maya's engagement ring, getting in her face, blocking her path. A club employee approached, forcing Kaisha to back away. Maya immediately texted her friends, who escorted her back to their table. She was visibly shaken, telling them that the woman claimed to be involved with her fiancé and had made threats. Her friends urged her to ignore the jealous stranger and focus on her special night. For 30 minutes, the situation seemed to calm down. Maya's group moved to a more private section, while Kaisha remained at the bar, ordering stronger drinks in rapid succession. Witnesses saw her making multiple phone calls, her agitation growing with each conversation. At 12:35 a.m., Maya's fiancé suggested they continue celebrating at another venue. As the group gathered their belongings, security cameras captured Kaisha exiting ahead of them. She walked directly to her dark sedan parked in the dimly lit lot, opened the trunk, and retrieved something before positioning herself between the parked cars. The Bloom Room's parking lot had minimal lighting and no security cameras covering the area where Maya's group had parked. As they walked toward their vehicles, laughing and discussing where to go next, none of them saw Kaisha emerge from the shadows 20 feet ahead. Maya walked arm in arm with her new fiancé, the engagement ring catching what little light filtered from the club's entrance. Her friends split into smaller groups as they approached their cars, creating the perfect opportunity for what happened next. Kaisha stepped out, blocking their path. At first, witnesses thought she was just another patron leaving the club. Then they realized it was the same woman who had caused problems inside. Maya's fiancé stepped protectively in front of her. "We don't want any problems," he said calmly. "Just let us pass." Kaisha's response chilled everyone present. Her voice was steady, controlled, despite the alcohol she had consumed. "You really think you're going to marry her?" she asked, her right hand concealed inside her purse. Maya tried to defuse the situation. "We can all move on with our lives," she said, attempting to step around the woman blocking their path. In that moment, Kaisha removed her hand from her purse, revealing a 9mm handgun. Before anyone could react, before anyone could scream, before anyone could run, she raised the weapon and fired 5 shots in rapid succession. 4 bullets found their target. 2 struck Maya in the chest, 1 in the abdomen, 1 in the right shoulder. She collapsed immediately onto the asphalt as her friends scrambled for cover behind nearby vehicles. Maya's fiancé dropped to his knees beside her, frantically pressing his jacket against her wounds while screaming for someone to call 911. Blood spread across the pavement as Maya's breathing became shallow and labored. Kaisha made no attempt to flee. She lowered the gun to her side and stood motionless, watching as the man she loved cradled another woman's dying body. Witnesses described her expression as blank, detached, as though she was observing a movie, rather than the consequences of her own actions. She kept saying, "He was supposed to be mine," over and over, reported the officer who transported Kaisha from the scene, not yelling it, just repeating it like she was trying to convince herself. Security guards from the Bloom Room reached the scene within moments. Police and paramedics arrived 7 minutes after the first 911 call. Despite their desperate efforts, Maya Jennifer Simmons was pronounced dead at 1:37 a.m. at Atlanta Medical Center. The engagement ring was still on her finger when she died. 8 children had gone to bed that night with a mother. They would wake up as orphans. The trauma team at Atlanta Medical Center fought desperately to save Maya Jennifer Simmons. She had coded twice in the ambulance, her blood pressure dropping dangerously low despite the paramedics' heroic efforts. Hospital security footage shows Maya being rushed through the emergency doors, medical staff performing chest compressions as they moved toward the operating room. Emergency blood transfusions couldn't stop the massive internal bleeding. The bullets had torn through her heart and lungs, causing damage too extensive for even the most skilled surgeons to repair. At 1:37 a.m., after nearly an hour of trying everything possible, Maya was pronounced dead. The grim task of notifying Maya's family fell to 2 officers who arrived at Jennifer Ferguson's home at 2:23 a.m. Body camera footage captured the heartbreaking moment Jennifer opened her door, her hand flying to her mouth before they could speak. "Is it Maya?" she asked, already knowing why police stood on her doorstep at that hour. "Please don't tell me it's Maya." Inside the modest home, 8 children slept peacefully, unaware their world had just collapsed. The youngest was only 3 years old, tucked into bed by Maya herself just hours earlier before she left to celebrate what should have been the happiest night of her life. "How do I tell them?" Jennifer asked through her tears. "How do I tell these babies their mama isn't coming home?" Back at the Bloom Room parking lot, crime scene technicians worked methodically through the night. They photographed blood spatter patterns, collected 5 shell casings from the 9mm handgun, and documented the exact positions where everyone had stood during those fatal moments. The parking lot remained sealed until nearly 6 a.m. as investigators built their case piece by piece. Detective Marcus Johnson led the investigation, conducting interviews with 12 witnesses who had seen either the confrontation inside the club or the shooting itself. The consistency across their statements was remarkable. Every witness told the same story. Kaisha had approached Maya's group, drawn a weapon, and fired multiple shots at close range. There was no question about who fired the shots or why, Detective Johnson noted in his report. The challenge wasn't solving the crime. The challenge was understanding how jealousy and obsession could drive someone to murder a complete stranger. The weapon used in the shooting was traced back to Kaisha within hours. She had purchased the 9mm handgun legally 6 weeks earlier at a gun shop in Marietta, Georgia. Store records showed it was her first firearm purchase, and she had completed all required background checks and waiting periods. The timing raised immediate questions. Had Kaisha been planning violence for weeks, or was this a spontaneous decision driven by seeing Maya's engagement? A search warrant for Kaisha's apartment revealed disturbing evidence of her obsession. Investigators discovered a journal containing multiple entries about Maya and her relationship with Kaisha's ex-boyfriend. Photos of the couple, printed from social media, were pinned to a corkboard in her bedroom alongside newspaper clippings about their public appearances together. Most chilling was a handwritten list titled "Ways to Make Her Go Away." While none of the items explicitly mentioned violence, they showed a progression of increasingly desperate thoughts. The list included everything from spreading rumors about Maya to finding ways to sabotage her relationship. The final entry, added just days before the shooting, simply read, "Make him see what he's losing." Kaisha's phone provided additional insight into her deteriorating mental state. Text messages to friends in the weeks leading up to the shooting showed her complete fixation on Maya and the relationship she felt had been stolen from her. In one message sent 3 days before the murder, Kaisha wrote, "I can't sleep knowing he might marry her. I can't eat. I can't think about anything else. Something has to change." Search history on her computer revealed she had been monitoring Maya's social media accounts obsessively, sometimes checking them multiple times per day. She had screenshot dozens of photos showing Maya with her children and boyfriend, storing them in a folder labeled "Evidence" on her desktop. Phone records showed that on July 28th, the day of the shooting, Kaisha had called her ex-boyfriend 17 times between noon and 10 p.m. Every call went unanswered. Text messages sent throughout the day became increasingly frantic, starting with simple requests to talk and escalating to threats and ultimatums. Her final text, sent at 9:47 p.m. just minutes before arriving at the Bloom Room, read, "You'll regret choosing her over me. You have no idea what you've done." Kaisha Simmons Birch turned herself in to police headquarters less than 12 hours after the shooting. She arrived at 11:30 a.m. on July 29th, accompanied by a hastily hired attorney, wearing the same clothes she had worn to the club the night before. Dried blood stained her shirt, Maya's blood. Detective Johnson described her demeanor as eerily calm during her initial interview. She showed no remorse, no emotion, no acknowledgement of the devastation she had caused. When asked why she had brought a gun to the Bloom Room, Kaisha simply stated, "I needed him to understand that some decisions have consequences." The formal charges came 1 day later. Kaisha appeared before Judge Patricia Williams at the Fulton County Courthouse, wearing a standard orange jumpsuit, her carefully maintained appearance replaced by the harsh reality of incarceration. The charges were severe: second-degree murder, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, and aggravated assault. The district attorney's office had debated first-degree murder charges, but ultimately determined that while Kaisha clearly intended to harm Maya, the evidence suggested the shooting wasn't premeditated in the strictest legal sense. However, Assistant District Attorney Robert Chen made it clear during arraignment that they would seek the maximum sentence possible. The defendant acted with malice and reckless disregard for human life, Chen stated. She brought a loaded firearm to confront an innocent woman and deliberately fired multiple shots at close range in a crowded area. 8 children lost their mother because of her selfish, violent actions. When asked how she pleaded, Kaisha responded in a barely audible voice, "Not guilty." Judge Williams denied bail immediately, citing both the severity of the charges and the potential danger Kaisha posed to others connected to the case, including Maya's fiancé and children. Kaisha's court-appointed defense attorney initially attempted to build a case around temporary insanity and diminished capacity. He argued that his client had been suffering from severe emotional distress and had snapped under the psychological pressure of witnessing her former partner propose to another woman. Ms. Simmons Birch was not in her right mind that night. Defense attorney David Martinez told reporters outside the courthouse she had been experiencing significant mental health issues exacerbated by alcohol consumption and emotional trauma. While we deeply regret the loss of life, this was not a premeditated act of cold-blooded murder. The defense strategy shifted dramatically in September 2023 when Martinez filed a motion claiming self-defense. According to this new narrative, Maya had allegedly threatened Kaisha inside the club and made a movement in the parking lot that Kaisha interpreted as reaching for a weapon. This claim was immediately contradicted by all witness statements, security footage, and forensic evidence. Maya's family was outraged by this desperate attempt to blame the victim.
Maya Jennifer couldn't kill you with her hands. She didn't have a gun. It's not self-defense. It's not stand your ground.
We don't have that law.
We don't even have that law here in South Carolina. That's in Florida. We're not.
The community rallied around Maya's family as news of the case spread. A GoFundMe campaign to support her children raised over $150,000 in just 2 weeks. Local churches organized meal trains and childcare assistance for Jennifer, who had taken custody of all 8 children while grieving the loss of her beloved granddaughter. Maya taught her children that when you die, you go to heaven and God takes care of you, Jennifer told reporters. Even though they're heartbroken, they understand that Mommy is in heaven now with Dream, the daughter she lost. Their faith is helping them through this nightmare. The trial of Kaisha Simmons Birch began on February 12, 2024, in a packed Fulton County courtroom. Maya's family filled the front rows, Jennifer Ferguson clutching a framed photo of her granddaughter while Maya's fiancé sat quietly, the engagement ring now hanging from a chain around his neck. The prosecution presented their case with devastating efficiency. Security footage from the Bloom Room showed the entire sequence of events, from Kaisha's arrival at the bar to her confrontation with Maya in the hallway. Witness after witness took the stand, each telling the same story of a woman consumed by jealousy who brought a loaded gun to settle a romantic dispute. Forensic analysis proved that Maya had been shot from approximately 6 feet away, too far to have posed any physical threat to Kaisha. The trajectory of the bullets, the blood spatter patterns, and the positions of shell casings all confirmed what everyone already knew. Kaisha had executed an unarmed woman in cold blood. Perhaps the most damaging testimony came from Jake Morrison, the bartender who had served Kaisha throughout the evening. He testified that while watching Maya's engagement celebration, Kaisha had told him, "Some people don't know when to back off from what isn't theirs." Her intent was clear long before she pulled that trigger. The defense's self-defense claim crumbled under cross-examination. Not a single witness reported seeing Maya make any threatening gestures. Security footage showed Maya attempting to de-escalate the situation, not provoke it. Even Kaisha's own journal entries, read aloud in court, revealed months of premeditated obsession rather than sudden fear for her safety. Dr. Sarah Chen, a forensic psychologist, testified about Kaisha's mental state leading up to the shooting. Her analysis of Kaisha's texts, social media posts, and journal entries painted a clear picture of escalating obsession and possessive behavior. The defendant exhibited classic signs of erotomania. Dr. Chen explained, she had created a fantasy relationship that existed only in her mind and became violently angry when reality contradicted her delusions. On February 19th, after just 4 hours and 37 minutes of deliberation, the jury returned with their verdict. The foreman stood and delivered the words Maya's family had been waiting to hear: "Guilty on all counts." Kaisha showed no emotion as the verdict was read. She stared straight ahead, her hands folded in her lap, while Maya's family members embraced each other through their tears. Justice had been served, but it couldn't bring back the mother of 8 who died for the crime of finding love. The sentencing hearing on March 8, 2024, gave Maya's family their first opportunity to address Kaisha directly. Jennifer Ferguson approached the podium with shaking hands, clutching the same photo of Maya she'd carried throughout the trial. "You took away the most precious thing in our lives," she said, her voice breaking. "Maya was the heart of our family. She worked 3 jobs to provide for her children. She never hurt anyone. She just wanted to be happy, and you murdered her for it. Those 8 babies ask me every day when their mama is coming home, and I have to tell them she never will because of you." Maya's fiancé also spoke, describing the woman he had planned to marry as someone who brought light into every room she entered. He talked about Maya's dreams of opening a daycare center, her determination to finish her education, and her unwavering devotion to her children. "She died wearing the ring I gave her," he said. "She died believing in our future together. Kaisha didn't just kill Maya, she killed our dreams, our plans, our family." When given the chance to address the court, Kaisha finally broke her silence. Her statement, however, fell far short of the remorse everyone expected. "I never meant for things to go this far," she said, addressing Judge Williams rather than Maya's family. "I just wanted him to see that he was making a mistake."